Hey, what's up, expats? It's Josh with Expats Everywhere. Today I'm bringing you an interview with a guy named John. He's from the United Kingdom, and in this interview, he talks about what it was like transitioning as an 18-year-old living in London to a small town in the United States, and then moving into the workforce in the US as an IT consultant. Now he has a budding career as a stand-up comedian, and we're talking about things like what to expect, what's the visa process like, how much money that you need to start up, what you can expect to earn, what the healthcare system is like, and many more questions are going to be answered. I've broken this interview up into two parts, and make sure that you check out both. Hope you enjoy it. Hello and welcome to Expats Everywhere. If you could tell us your name, where you're from, and a little about yourself.
So my name's John Simmons. I'm originally from Essex in England, which is like East London, old school Cockney territory, like Oliver Twist and all that. I am an IT geek by day, doing technical support and that kind of stuff. And then by night, I do stand-up comedy.
That's brilliant. So, which do you prefer, the IT or the stand-up comedy?
Shockingly, the animals that come to the comedy shows are much better than the animals that call into the IT gig.
What countries have you worked in?
Just England and America.
Okay. What's it like working in the US?
I don't know, like everyone always says horror stories about how hard everyone works, but it depends on like what company you're at. I know all my friends back home, they seem to have a lot more vacation time, which is amazing. And then when they talk about going to different countries, it is, I mean, mainland Europe's like the same size as America. So it's kind of like going to like Holland or Belgium just sounds more glamorous than I'm going to Kentucky. But you're traveling the same distance.
Sure.
But no, I mean it's depends on the company you're at. Like here, it seems a lot more like you get your 10 days of vacation, whereas back home, I think it's 4 to 6 weeks by standard.
Wow. How have you adjusted to that? Or is there an adjustment?
I mean, I moved out here when I was like 18, so I never got to really experience that. I mean, I waited tables part-time back home in England, so
Okay.
I mean, yeah, I was still used to the school holidays, so anything less than 3 months seems horrific.
Right. No doubt. So you went to university in the US.
Yeah,
Okay, where did you go to school?
King College in Bristol, Tennessee.
So what was it like a Londoner moving to such a small town?
It was different, but in a kind of really cool way because it was so much different from what I was used to.
Mm.
So I know like some of the guys that came across from England, it was like too much of a change. Whereas kind of like if you adopt it and really go for it, it's kind of like, okay, this is a whole different way of living. Like when you go on vacation, you'll go to somewhere and you want to live your same life, but just in a sunnier kind of place.
Right.
Or you eat a slightly different food kind of thing. But it's like I love going to somewhere different and like, okay, how do people live here? Not I'm going to Disneyland and I'm just going to eat the same thing I eat back home and do the same thing. So I find that stuff fascinating, just throwing yourself into a different place altogether.
After you finished university, did you go back to England or did you stay in the US and start working?
Stayed in the US and started working.
Okay, and what kind of jobs are available for British expats in the US?
I mean, it depends what you want to do, I guess. Like a lot of people love the English people, so it's anything like sales based seems to be huge.
Right.
Soccer
accent.
coaching was massive. Yeah, pretty much, because it's like people like they think it gives you like a leg up, but in reality, people are just kind of like, "Oh, you're English," and just ignore any sales pitch you have. It's like, no, okay, yeah, I'm from England, I'm from Essex, but you should really check this thing out. It's amazing. And it's like, no. So whereabouts in England? And it's like, oh god. Talk about forcing the sale. But no, I know a lot of the guys from King went into soccer coaching straight away because it's a much more simple path.
Okay.
I think like you're already in that. You're not kind of trying to break out to anything different. It's just I do this and I'm going to continue doing this.
So tell us a bit about your comedy gigs that you do. Do you have any coming up?
Yeah, so I've got a kind of like showcase at one of the clubs in Atlanta next Wednesday. And then last Friday, I qualified for like a big showcase at Stardome in Birmingham, Alabama. I've learned how to pronounce that the American way now.
Awesome.
And that'll be sometime in the fall, but it's like this massive kind of like comedy theater type thing. So it's launched like a lot of careers out of there. So it's a really good one to be involved in.
Very cool. What does a typical day look like at your job in the US? as an IT person, not as a comedian?
So I wake up in the morning, usually too late for breakfast. I ignore that one. It's not the most important meal of the day. That's a lie. So I drive to work. It takes somewhere between 45 minutes to an hour to get to where I work at. It's nice because you just trickle along in traffic. So it's perfect time for like a podcast or, listen to something such as Expats Everywhere.
Thank you.
And so, I get in, I check if there's any like emails or follow-ups to like tickets and stuff I've been working on the previous day. So it's like 30 minutes of kind of just catching up on what's gone on overnight, grabbing a coffee, saying hey to everyone. And then from like 9:30 to about 5:30, 6 o'clock, we'll break for lunch, obviously, in the middle. It's just kind of dealing with tickets and problems that come in, people needing walkthroughs. And yeah, just kind of holding people's hands through the process. Like, how do I do this? And it's like, you just click there. And it's like, oh my God, that's amazing. You're a hero. America seems to have a lot more stuff that goes on like 24 hours a day.
Okay.
So it's difficult to find a job sometimes that is just like a regular 9 to 5 with weekends off. Because so much stuff just caters for 24/7, or it's got to cater across like 3 time zones.
How many other expats do you work with?
There's actually, there's another guy in the next department over who went to my same high school.
Jeez, small world.
Yeah, because I was in my interview and they're like, oh, so where are you from? And I was like, Essex. And I was like, oh yeah, we've got a guy that's also from Essex. There's, I think, 3 guys from Japan that work in like the code and developing kind of thing. I think we've got 3 Central American people that work in various roles. I know one is from Venezuela, one is Mexico, and I cannot remember the third one. I want to say El Salvador, but I might be making it up.
Okay. And are they there as well to be bilingual support?
One is bilingual support. I think everyone else just like came for college or their family moved or something like that.
Do you have people outside of the IT industry that are expats that you're friends with?
Not so much. Like pretty much everyone's either been like in the same industry or like I knew him from playing soccer in college.
Okay. So honing in on the IT industry, how much can you expect to earn in the U.S.?
So there's so many different roles, and it depends on the area you're at. Like if you're in like San Francisco, you're going to be making like 100 to 200 grand.
Oof.
But that's the same as making like 60 grand in Texas.
Right.
Because it's so much different. So for my role, so it's like tier 2 technical support. You're looking at anywhere from 40 grand to like the mid 50s, depending on like the size of your company, what exactly your role entails, how long you've been there, and that kind of thing.
Okay. IT
support, this current role, it's like mid 40s to mid 50s. But what I'm trying to move into, like a network admin or a systems admin, eventually is anywhere from like 70 to 120, depending again on the size of the company, how much stuff you're responsible for.
Right. I like the sound of that 120. I don't know about you.
But then it comes with a lot more work. Like I've had jobs where I've earned loads more money, but it's just I was happier earning $11 an hour as an IT contractor than I was making, I think 1 month in sales, I made like 7 grand. And I was so much happier when I was making $11 an hour.
Fair enough. Money isn't everything, right?
I mean, I bought some nice stuff. Don't get me wrong.
Sure. But
once the stuff is gone, it's like, no, I'm way happier.
You're currently in the Atlanta market. Is that right?
Yeah.
So what wage range did you say most people are on, like at your level?
So it's going to be between sort of like 40 to mid 50s.
Okay, and then you were also in the Memphis area for quite a while. What would be the range there?
30 to 40.
Okay, so cost of living's significantly lower there, wages are lower there. Is that right?
Yeah, and there's a lot less industry there. Like,
okay.
I worked at FedEx, which is like I think it's one of the main, basically the biggest jobs thing that is there.
Yeah, biggest employer there.
Yeah, but trying to find an IT job there was brutal because it just didn't really exist. Whereas I came here and I started looking for jobs, and it was like, oh my God, it's everywhere.
Yeah.
It depends where you live as well, because Atlanta's spread out over such a bigger area. If you're going to try and live right in downtown, then it's going to cost more to live, and you might make a bit more.
Okay.
Whereas, I live just over an hour to get right downtown, but there's so many like IT hubs. Even the smaller cities are kind of like semi-decent sized. So you've got Marietta, Alpharetta, Roswell, and Woodstock are all like good hubs for it, and there's a load of like IT jobs there. So you can still make like similar money in those areas, but you don't have to live right in and amongst the traffic.
So let's talk about that 50K mark. If you're making 50K, do you think that this is enough money in Atlanta? And what kind of lifestyle can you live?
I mean, it depends what you're into, you know? Like, I mean, if you want to go out in and around Atlanta, like every night, go out drinking and partying, then you're not going to live in a nice place. If you want to live in a really nice place, then you're going to live further out from there. So you need to make sure that, I mean, you've got a reliable car. For one thing, and then, I mean, you're going to spend more in gas, but not excruciatingly amount more. I've actually just hit like 800 days without drinking, so, I mean, that's an expense that's been taken away.
Congratulations.
Yeah, I didn't try. I went back to England, I got wasted with my buddy from back home, came back, hung out with my friends in a cabin for the weekend, and after that I was like, you know what, I think I'm good. I can't do this anymore. If I gave up cookies, then it'd be a congratulations moment.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to do that. If you could give up cookies, you'd be a stronger man than me.
My God, I would have like a 12-pack abs. Like I would find 4 new abs.
No doubt.
At 50K, if you're going to live with like a roommate and you're not trying to live in like an extravagant apartment and you're not trying to go out every night, then yeah, I mean, there's so much to do. None of it costs too much. But it's just like, yeah, same as anywhere. If you're going to try and live in a very, very high-end area, you're not going to have money for anything.
Okay, so let's say that you are living together with someone else, whether it be a roommate or a spouse or girlfriend, boyfriend, whatever. How much money can you save?
I mean, again, I guess it depends. If you're not really going to go too heavy on your nights out and you're not going to like concerts and soccer games, basketball games, NFL games constantly, I mean, you can probably tuck away a good $500 a month.
Okay.
Without trying.
That's respectable.
Too hard. It is. It's just the temptation's there because there's so much like cool stuff to do. So it's. I mean, if you're happy, again, like not eating out all the time, but there's so many good restaurants.
Sure.
If you were trying and being quite like even semi-frugal, then yeah, you could probably tuck away a good $400 or $500 a month.
Still talking about finances. How much money do you need to start up? So if someone's looking to move from the UK or Europe to the US. Into like, let's say the southeast region, because you have experience living in Memphis, Nashville, and Atlanta, and Bristol. Don't want to forget Bristol. How much would startup costs be?
So I don't know how much the visas cost now.
Okay.
But I mean that's going to be somewhere between $1 to $3 or $4 grand.
Oof.
Like yeah, it's. That little stuff, that's a big kick. But then again, the exchange rate for the UK, which by the way, that was you got $2.30 when I moved out here, and now it's like I think it's $1.30.
Yeah, it's a big shift.
I mean, if that crash happened a year earlier, I don't know if I would have made it out. Which is weird to think. I'd be even more pale than I am now. But no, so yeah, you're gonna need. Somewhere between $1 to $3 or $4 grand for your visa stuff.
Okay.
A lot of people will use a lawyer to do the visa stuff, which adds an extra $1 or $2 grand to it. But if you're kind of savvy Googling around the internet, you can find all the answers to the questions you need on there because so many people have gone through it and filled it out. So it depends how savvy you are. Like some people would want to just, I'm just going to do it with a lawyer because I don't want to mess this up because if you mess it up, that's $3 grand down the drain.
Right.
Whereas, yeah, so it all depends.
Or people trade time for money and money for time, right?
Exactly.
Like if you don't have the time to do it, you just shell it out to a lawyer. Yeah.
Exactly. I mean, if I had more money, then yeah, I would have done a lawyer. No question.
Okay.
Yeah. So then when you get here, you need first and last month's rent for like an apartment. Especially if you're coming from abroad and you don't have a credit rating, then you're going to need a lot more money up front.
Okay.
Just to prove that I've got an income, prove that you've got a job, that kind of stuff. That's the biggest kicker is the credit.
Good tip.
Yeah. I mean, if you're living with someone, like there's loads of websites to find like a roommate for something.
Okay. Can you give a few names?
There's one called Roomster.
Okay.
That one's good because it's like, I think it's like a $10 a month one. So it gets rid of a lot of the riffraff.
Yes.
I know, like, if you're looking at Craigslist, it's like, this might be a murderer or this might be okay. if you look at Roomster, then you're finding like kind of landlords that are posting open rooms, and then people that want to vet who's moving in because also they're willing to pay $10 a month to find a place to live, kind of thing. But yeah, so Roomster's amazing for that. And then you don't have to prove like the credit rating and stuff. But if you're trying to get your own apartment, like in your name and just you live there, then yeah, you're going to need a lot more money up front. So you're looking at anywhere from sort of $3,000 to put down there to sort of 4.5 if they want first, last, deposit last month and first month. So it all depends how that works. So yeah, you're looking at another sort of, I'd say $3,000 or $4,000 to be safe, but it could be less, could be more, depending on which route you're going to take. Plane tickets, you're looking at, for one way, somewhere between $600 to $1,000, all said and done, because, I mean, you're going to get some food, you got to pay, they're always going to charge you baggage when you get there, you can need a cab when you get there. For a reliable car that's not going to keep breaking down, you're looking at sort of $4,000 or $5,000 and up.
Okay.
And then, depending on where you're at, I think it's, because I know Tennessee is like a 10% sales tax pretty much. So you're looking at anywhere from a $200 to $500 to get it all registered, taxed, all that good stuff.
Okay.
You're gonna want to get like an oil change, good tank of gas. So yeah, probably like, I'd say it's like $500-600 for the extra on that. I mean, for your house, you're gonna need furniture and a bed and stuff.
Sure.
So I mean, that's gonna be, if you're lucky enough to live near an IKEA, you are golden. But if there's no IKEA around, then yeah, you're looking at anywhere from like $1,000 to $5,000 to furnish the place. For your TV, I mean, like $30 a month for internet, and then you might have to stick like a $100 deposit down with that place. And then you can't use your English phone, I don't think, unless you get it unlocked. So you might be a bit stuck trying to buy like a cheap used phone, and then you can like $60-70 a month in your phone. I know in England, like an unlimited is like £30 a month, and the iPhone's free or something.
Oh, okay.
Whereas here it's like $700
for the phone,
$200 for the phone, and then it's just, ugh.
So yeah. People are looking at like 15,000 to start up, right? Minimum, kind of.
Yeah, I'd say 10 to 15.
All right, well, let's keep moving on. What are some things that you can't find in the U.S. that you recommend people should bring from the UK?
The big thing would have been baked beans and PG tips, but you can find them now in quite a few supermarkets. Okay.
Do you have to pay a premium on them?
You do, but I mean, it's like PG tips is, I think it's like, it's either, I can't remember if it's $2.50 or $5, but I mean, it lasts you a month.
Okay.
So it's more expensive, but in a way that it's like, I mean, you'll pay this for your tea. If it was $10, you'd be like, hey, wait a minute.
Right.
This is too much. But the gulf between like English tea and the American teas they sell here,
yeah,
for like imitating it, is just night and day.
Okay.
I'm actually sipping on my PG tips right now.
Nice.
You need to get a plug, like a little PG tips banner come up at the bottom now.
I do, yeah. This interview is sponsored by PG Tips.